Hello everyone, welcome back. And the chorus starts in the background again. It's about 7:30, 8 p.m. We've been coming down on an evening when it's nice and cool now and doing some work because it's just too hot during the middle of the day. So we came last night and we started this next little project. So it's in front of the garden house, and what we eventually would like here is a covered deck area. Can't quite afford that at the moment, but what we can do, I think we've spent about €37 altogether, is buy some framing, some shade cloth and some of the thin boards that we used to do the edge cladding on the house, and we're going to make a covered shade area with the shade cloth, and that will help keep the inside of the garden house cool, so that we're going to get more use out of it, because the sun is just quite relentless in the middle of the day. What we're trying to do is any work that we do now on this temporary structure will also be useful on the eventual structure when everything is done. So what we did last night was we got everything measured out. Now we have 612 centimetres total between our two end posts. So 3 dividing 612 is 204. So each of our gaps needs to be 204 centimetres wide. We got everything squared off and we have put in 4 posts into the ground, and then we're attaching our uprights to those 4 posts and then stabilising them with another beam that comes out, which is attached to the garden house. I'm calling that a success. So what we did was we used our long beam. We started on the first 2, we levelled them, then we moved it along, and then we moved it along. We haven't got one beam long enough to do the whole thing.
What we've got now is we've got a pretty accurate measurement from the side of the house here. We've got an accurate measurement of 2 metres, which is where we're going to take our decking to. We've also got
our accurate measurement of the full width of the garden house, and now all of the posts are level. Hey, we've got the last 2, well there's only 4, we've got the middle 2 uprights in now, and we've got the support beams connecting them all the way along, and it's pretty sturdy. So all it needs to hold is some shade cloth. Our next job is to put the 2 beams that go across the full face of the garden house, and as we're doing that, tuck the shade cloth in behind.
Yeah. That's gonna be a hard bit.
Yeah, because this took more than 4 hands that we have between us. Yeah. So I'll just show you. So while Darren was up putting one side in, I was then holding the other side up with a fence post, trying to keep it all steady and stable so we could get them in straight. But I think we've done a pretty good job.
I think we've done a really good job actually. I think it looks really good. It's really straight, looks really sturdy. I mean, we can make it sturdier if we wanted to, and we will at some point.
We will when we come further on, yeah, absolutely, yeah. when the deck goes in, that will help to sturdy it up.
Yeah.
And we would hope to have a solid roof on come the winter.
Yeah,
Big fingers crossed.
possibly a solid roof.
To want to keep the deck dry and make it dry when you're going in and out, you know, so you can take your shoes and your coat off before you go into the garden house. But at the moment, it just has to hold some shade cloth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is one of the beams that we'll be using to attach the shade cloth at the garden house end. So the question is, how are we going to get the shade cloth attached to this and then attach this to the side of the house?
Yeah.
This is what we're now trying to plan out and think about, isn't it?
This is our next
It's our next thinking
job. Need a drink.
Yeah, good idea.
After some discussion, we both came up with an idea, and then we've decided to go with half of Darren's and half of mine.
Okay.
We've got our wood that is going to hold the shade cloth to the garden house. We've just pre-drilled one hole in either end because this is not the full length. We're going to screw this in loosely so that we still have space to then, between us, tuck the shade cloth in so we can get it straight and then screw it in to hold it in place. And hopefully, just doing it piece by piece, we'll be able to get it straight.
Yeah,
And
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, you can manage it up there while you're screwing it in, and I can manage the rest of it down on the ground.
So Max is definitely spotting something down here in the pond. I was obsessed with it this evening and last night too. I think it just might be the frogs, but something's definitely interesting him. Okay, so that's the first beam up now. We're trying to unravel this shade cloth and then hopefully we can tuck it into this beam going across here. So that's the second beam up now, so that's pretty much the whole length of the house. Now we're going to try and get the shade cloth underneath that.
We're rapidly running out of light, but we're pushing on because we've got so far.
Yeah.
So what Darren's managed to do is get it tucked in behind our batten, like pretty much all the way. We have just got that small end to do between the two finishing beams.
That's fine, we can do that.
But we can do that.
That's not a stress.
But this is now sort of, it's quite level and it's holding. So
now what I've got to do is just adjust it slightly just up here, because at the moment I've pulled it through quite a lot, so I've pulled it down and then to hold it. So now I'm going to get back underneath again and make it all level all the way along there to try and make this all level. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yep. Then get it tightened in.
Yeah.
And then what we'll be able to do is then lift it up and over, and it'll all be fabulous.
Yeah. I don't know what time it is, but it's starting to get a little bit dark now.
Sun's gone down completely.
We'll try and get it done this evening.
We will try.
Okay, let's get on with it. No idea what time it is now, but we're done. It's, well, we're kind of done. We're going to have to just leave the shade cloth just hanging because we didn't really want to just staple it up against anything just in case there is any wind or anything tomorrow. So we're leaving it just sitting on the face of the garden house. And we'll come back to it tomorrow evening when it's cool again. So yeah, now we've got to find our dog. He's out there somewhere. He's out there in the dark.
Playing with the frogs.
Playing with the frogs, yeah. We'll find him.
Come on, Max.
Come on then, Max. Come. Max, come.
It's Friday afternoon. Getting on for 3 p.m. It's the last day of June, and a rally, a national or perhaps international rally, one of the lakes actually starts just outside our village. So we're off to have a look. There's never been so much commotion here. There's been PA announcements that we could hear, and the GNR are here directing traffic. We've had several bomberos, firefighting appliances come through, and we'll have to see what it's all about. So according to one of the race officials, the tent there, they're the people who start the timer off for each car, and then they whiz up our little back road here. So we're going to try and see if we can find a spot that's in the shade, because this is the hottest part of the day. Luckily today it's only about 34 degrees centigrade, and we're going to see if we can see the cars sort of oncoming up this hill. See what it's like.
Yeah.
I think we saw some of them yesterday when we were coming back from Castelo Branco.
Well,
we had a feeling, because there were a couple of cars that not that we know every car, but a couple of cars that we didn't really recognise, and they all had two men in the front, and they all looked as though they were quite intent, and they also were driving very fast. Yeah, so they might have been checking out the route. That's my story anyway. Here's the next point. So I think the first one is like I don't really know how these things work. Never really been into car rallying or rally driving. But when it's right on your doorstep, you have to have a look. So quite a few places here and people, so we'll see if we can find a shady spot. You know, when you're just chatting away because you think you're walking along with someone, then you look back and they're not there. Darren's just stopped to take a few photographs. I think we found our spot, so it's almost right at the top of the hill. We've got a nice oak tree, some lovely shade, and quite a stunning view.
yeah.
So what the race official is telling us is that 3 cars have to go past. They are not the rally cars. The first one had 3 zeros on it. The one that's just gone by had 2 zeros on it. The next one will have 1 0. This will be 0. Oh. So it's like a countdown in cars, and the people in those cars are all race officials who are ensuring the safety of people on the side of the road. evening again, everyone. Next evening now. I think this is our third evening on this project. It's about 7:30. Just got cool enough to come out, and nicely the breeze has just got going. So what Darren is doing, not trying to do, what you are doing is putting in the last small piece at that end there. So that's measured and ready to go, and then use that to hold the shade cloth in, and then our job will be to lift it up and over this structure and see what we can get done this evening, hopefully finished. Was it gone? Max was barking a lot and sniffing as though he'd found something, and then he was just standing looking through the fence. I'm wondering if it was a hedgehog or something. We've seen a couple of hedgehogs, and he usually does just stand and bark at the hedgehogs, doesn't quite understand them. But looking at that, oh, look at all this, that looks like some wild jasmine in there. Does smell lovely down here. Taking over this old cork oak stump. It's completely dead, but just hasn't quite fallen over yet. Okay, let's go back and see what Darren's up to. Shade cloth all secured onto the front of the building, and our next job is to lift it up and over, isn't it?
Yeah.
We could have done with a few hands to make it easier, but we just got to go with what we've got. It's the windiest evening that we've had.
Yeah, that's a slight problem, isn't it? So I think we need to attach the front first.
Okay.
So we need to kind of pull it along somehow and attach it to the front. Once we've got the front attached
at each end, then we can work on the sides.
Yeah, we can then, it will then hold itself in place, I think. So it's just getting it up there that's the problem, and stapled in. Yeah. Okay, let's go for it.
With the help of a gust or two of wind, we've managed to get the shade cloth right up and over, and now you're using an offcut, aren't you,
to try and hold it.
Sandwich it in again.
Sandwich it in. I think that's been the story here, is trying to sandwich this between
two pieces of wood,
so that we're not just putting nails in or screws in, which could easily rip, or even staples. We're not using staples.
Although you did say that.
I thought some staples under here, under this wood, would be okay, because the staples will hold it in place whilst we put the wood on. But there is still a risk, I think, of it still tearing.
Because staples are so small and thin. They have such a minute pressure point that they would cause a rip.
Okay. So we're going without the staples, and we're just going to put this piece of wood straight in. Yeah.
Go on then.
Go for it. Give it a go. See if it works. Okay. It's a bit difficult at a height.
So that's just the first front section in, and then we've got other bits to go all the way along. Ta-da!
Oh, come on in.
We've managed to finish it and still have a little bit of light left, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
I think our incentive was we're starving, because it was still too hot to eat when we left the village house to come and do the work here. So we haven't had our dinner yet. And I'm really hungry now. Okay, so what do you think? We think it looks pretty smart. We've managed to roll the edges, because these were the cut edges, so they get a bit dangly, all the loose bits. So Darren managed to get it rolled up quite tight and neat, and then held in with just the little offcuts of wood so that it's sandwiched between the structure we've made and our little offcuts.
Yeah.
So it's like in a sandwich like this. And then on the edges, we've done the same thing, rolled and rolled, so there's no raw edge, and then it's just some cable ties to finish it off.
I was going to say, I think the cable ties are temporary, but honestly, they're pretty cool as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
it's doing a really good job.
We've had really strong gusts of wind while we've been doing this as well.
Yeah.
And it's been absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So we think we're really pleased with what we've done.
Yeah.
It's going to shade out a lot of the sun, especially at this very sunny time of year where the sun is really strong. We're already in 40 plus temperatures midday. So behind Darren, behind the camera, that's where the sun comes up. By midday, it's about right on the back of the house, hence the orientation of why we built it this way. And then you've sort of seen the red sun that we have at the moment going down over that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to keep the majority of the mid-morning to midday sun off all of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that might be the end of this video.
It should be, yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much for joining us. If you are enjoying what we're doing here in Central Portugal, then please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really helps us out. And then give us a like. And if you have any questions about what we've been doing or our life here, then drop us a question in the comments. We read them all, don't always get to answer them all now because there's quite a few, but thank you very much because that support is very much appreciated. So, with my background choir yet again, oh, that was nearly in my mouth. Oh. Okay, so
with the background choir
with the background
again.
Choir,
yeah,
we will say goodnight and we're off for some food.
I'll catch you on the next one.
Catch you on the next one. Take care, guys. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Hey, good boy, Maxie. You've been so patient, aren't you, while we're doing the jobs? No frogs out tonight? No? Good lad.